Hello, it's been some time since I've spoken to you about my recovery and how things are going. We're about 4 weeks since I came back from Russia from my HSCT treatment. And I thought I'd give you a little bit of an update as far as how I'm feeling, what I'm doing, how I am recuperating and recovering, and just, thought we'd have a chat. So, my recovery seems to be going pretty well. I had my second blood test results in, which I'll share with you on a separate video. I'll go through them in a little bit of detail. But as far as, they're generally a little bit up and down. But generally things are moving in the right direction. Things are looking really good. What this does is I think it possibly gives you a little bit of overconfidence, maybe. I don't know whether I'm taking risks, undue risks, but this weekend I decided to go out and see my boys play. I have twin boys, and saw them play football on Saturday morning, and that was kind of my first proper venture out into the real world. I go for a walk every day down the road and trying to lengthen that, and my walking is definitely getting better and stronger, as I think my muscles are recovering their strength. I'm doing yoga every day in order to help that, and then go for a walk for my exercise. But I thought I'd go and watch my boys play football and see friends and parents of the rest of their football team. And that went really well. I took a camping chair with me. I walked to the school where it is, which is only just down the road. Took a camping chair, which I used sort of off and on throughout the game. When I got a bit excited, obviously, I stood up and shouted, as is my wont. And then I walked back, and that was really good. That was excellent. Really felt good about that. I went shopping on Sunday with my partner Helen, and we went to a few places, and ended up in a DIY store nearby. And that was interesting because I saw one of I didn't see them, they saw me. A sister of someone I teach in my present class at the moment. I'm off on sick leave, obviously. But I saw a sister who came up to me and then FaceTimed the pupil who I do teach. And there I was thinking, I'm away from school and this and that. I mean, you can never get away from school locally. So I was speaking to my pupil on FaceTime. And that was quite cool, actually, just showing her my bald head and sort of getting in touch and saying, obviously, I will visit the school as and when I'm ready. Now, bearing in mind that schools are full of germs, right? You've got a couple of hundred kids with various, sort of lurgies and illnesses, so it's a bit of a risk to go into school. Certainly not at this stage, but I obviously will go there at some point, and take all the necessary precautions. So that was good. So to go out, to be able to go out shopping. Now, I haven't been wearing my mask when I go out, and I don't feel too bad about that, because actually in all the reading that I go through, they say that germs aren't generally airborne. If you're going to catch an infection, you're going to get it through touch. So it's about protecting yourself from touching things and then touching your mouth and whatnot. So that means it's about washing your hands regularly and taking the usual precautions. But I certainly haven't been going, crazy on wearing a mask and protecting myself. And I don't know whether that means I'm taking undue risks. I don't know whether I'm in that kind of taking for granted where I'm at, and the fact that I feel fairly decent on a daily basis. I still have the odd cognitive deficit where my memory isn't particularly great at times, and sometimes I struggle finding the words, and obviously my physical deficits of not being able to do a great many things without becoming really tired or fatigued. So I'm trying to do a bit more around the house. I am venturing out in the garden. But I suppose it's frustrating for my partner, who is taking on the lion's share of all the work around the house and outside the house, and painting sheds and fences and things. And they would be the things that I normally do, and that's must be frustrating for her. I don't know whether she resents me for that in any way. It wouldn't surprise me. Because that's frustrating, and I do a little bit, and then I come in and sit down because I'm fatigued, and to see me sitting down and effectively relaxing or not doing anything, or being on my laptop or on the PlayStation or whatever, because I'm tired, from doing things. That still must be I can imagine that would be annoying for my partner, who's out there working away and then coming in and seeing me relaxing. But that's the nature of the beast, right? When you've had a major treatment like this, you have to be careful and you can't overdo things. What is of interest maybe as well is that, as you can see, my hair is starting to slowly grow back, very slowly. There's a bit of a fuzz on top, and also you can see around here. So I'm almost going to need a shave. Now, I think that's growing back in patches rather than, that definitely, because there isn't hair everywhere. But so therefore, where I didn't lose it, and it had stopped growing, even though I hadn't lost it, it wasn't growing. What I hadn't lost is now starting to grow. Now, I don't know whether that means, I think that's going to mean that it will grow back patchily until what I've lost will actually grow. Let me raise the seat a little bit. Will actually grow back properly. And so therefore I'm going to expect slightly patchy hair growth. So I suppose I'll keep it short until the patchiness becomes much more consistent. My hair becomes much more consistent. But generally, as I've said, things are going well. I'm in a fairly good place. I'm trying to get more sleep. I think my sleep hasn't been great because you just get back into your old routines of staying up late. I'm quite a nocturnal being, and now I am trying to get to bed a little bit earlier, because I see sleep is an important part of staying fit and healthy with regard to A, this treatment, B, MS in general, and C, health in general. So so sleep is really important, and that's something that I have that is a weakness for me. What else can I say? I've been in contact with my MS nurse. I've seen, as I've said in previous videos, I've seen her, and she will be coming back to see me again, which is great. I've had 2 sets of blood tests, and I've just sent off a request for 2 more blood tests, which would, I think I've got my timings a bit wrong. So I actually had blood tests after 1 week and 2 weeks, pretty much 1 week and 2 weeks after I got back. And now, well, it's probably actually 2 weeks and 3 weeks. And now I'm where it says you should have blood tests after a month. Now I think it's going to be probably 5 or 6 weeks, and then 2 months thereafter. So I've got my timings a bit wrong, but I've had an extra blood test. So I think I misread it. But I'm not too worried because until I feel my temperature rising or an infection coming on, then or I feel some other issue, then I'll treat it as my body is all right. I'm taking, well, in fact, I'll talk about that in my blood test video that I'll do next. But yeah, things are looking good. My trajectory seems to be going on in the same way as it has been. The feeling in my fingers is probably the single thing that hasn't changed at all. And in fact, I don't know if it feels a little bit worse. Like I really can't feel my fingers, the ends of my fingers, and that's really, really frustrating, because that's why you drop a lot of things and can't do the things that you want to do, you know, using a screwdriver effectively, and all these kind of everyday things, and typing obviously, and all that kind of stuff, just unscrewing bottles, and the everyday things become difficult, and that hasn't got any better, and that's really frustrating, because you know, that's really important for your functioning, and I hope, you know, obviously I hope that does get better with the treatment as my recovery progresses, but if it doesn't, that's obviously a shame, because then I'll have no feeling in my fingers forever. But you know, fingers crossed and all that. Other than that, you know, my as I said, my walking has improved. I think everything else is fairly stable, and the question is going to be, you know, whether I progress, whether it halts. It's going to be interesting to see, you know, but it's also subjective, and you're going on memory of exactly how each function of your body was working. You know, I think generally I am halted at the moment, but I'm not showing the roller coaster that many HSCT treatment patients get. So I don't think I've got worse, particularly worse. I mean, I talk about fingers, but I think they're broadly the same. But other than that, I haven't got worse as a result of my treatment before I get better, and as many people do. So it's been sort of flatlining, which is good. That's really positive. So I'm in a good place. I'm pretty happy, and I'll give you a blood test video, the second blood test video, to analyse my internal workings, which will be exciting, I'm sure. Anyway, there's just a little update of where I'm at. Cheers.